She's conservative and I'm liberal, and yet we've been friends for almost 40 years. Everyone says you shouldn't discuss politics, religion, or money. And we say that's exactly what friends should be talking about. Join us as we tackle the conversations you're having in your head, but are too scared to say out loud. Welcome to We've Got to Talk.
Welcome to We've Got to Talk. And today's episode is one that we have not wanted to do, but we have to. I guess that's the only way that I could say it, is the Epstein Files and the Epstein events. It's something that I am curious to get your opinions on, and it's one of those things that we have to talk about. So here we go.
So we are going to get straight into it. I will start with my 3 hot takes, then Jolene will do hers, and then we will off to the races. So here we go. Hot take number 1. The more that I delve into the Epstein Files and the unfolding of this story, the more I'm astounded at who was involved. And it feels like almost every famous and or rich person and or powerful person in the 1990s and the aughts had a connection to Epstein. And yet, no one knows what was going on, except maybe Prince Andrew. That's my number 1. Number 2, it's more than an exploitation of young women and girls. This is a class issue. Young girls who have nothing and have no power and have no voice versus the hyper elite who are filled with entitled men and women who believe that their actions are untouchable. Number 3, I can't believe how incredibly greedy and desperate the top doctors, scientists, celebrities, all these people just wanted access to Epstein's money, his connections, his influence, and they just happened to turn a blind eye to his, quote, activities, unquote. To me, this isn't a left or right issue. This is a failing on all of our parts to protect the rich at all costs and dismiss the voices of the disenfranchised.
I would say that mine are about the same.
Yeah, so let's reiterate your hot takes then.
Okay, number 1. It is amazing to me, the more I feel like we have been hearing about the Epstein Files now for 18, so what, almost 8 years? And I am amazed how, if you really take a look at how this guy started, how Jeffrey Epstein started as a middle school teacher, and how he got to where he was arguably one of the most influential people in the world, or had access to the most influential people in the world, is mind-boggling. And how one person was able to do that through, and this kind of goes into my second one, through sex and power. I mean, it boils down to sex and power and money. And I can't believe that we are a society that could look at the pull and the strength that sex and power and money have to bring down some of the most powerful people in the world. I mean, some of the most influential people in the world. And I don't even want to say just as a woman, as a human, as you already said, on the backs, literally, of young girls who were poor or, didn't have, a direction and all that. And my third thing is, will we ever know the truth? Will we ever get to the point? Here we're releasing all of these documents, and you can look at all the texts and the emails and the photos and all that. But I don't know, the part of the Epstein Files, as we're calling them, are anything from accusations that, the FBI says are uncorroborated to victim statements that are horrendous. And so when we take, look at this in totality, will we ever get to the truth? And I don't know that we ever will. Are we ever going to find out? Did he commit suicide, or did somebody kill him? I mean, if Ghislaine Maxwell, is that how you say her name?
I think I think so.
Maxwell. Is she the only one alive who really knows the truth? And how can that be? How could there not be other people that don't know and aren't implicated in this? So,
well, it's interesting, Jolene, because I think this is a if we put a color on it, a bright, bright purple issue. I don't know anyone. This is not partisan. This is, to me, about humanity and inhumanity. That doesn't mean it's Republican or Democrat. I think why so many people are outraged, the more they hear about it, they can't believe that these things have gone unchecked.
Isn't it interesting for you to say that it's bipartisan when we're getting to a point where it was really the Republican women on this House committee who voted with Democrats? I mean, is it like, wait a second, is this the women versus the men? I mean, it's the whole reason that Marjorie Taylor Greene said, I'm out. If Trump's not going to release, or the DOJ's not going to release all the files, I'm almost feeling like this is a male versus female situation.
I would say no, I don't, because maybe there's a lot of male Democrats that have been, and some Republican men too. The question to me then is, why aren't people standing up on either side and saying, wait a minute, enough is enough? I mean, you're seeing Prince Andrew, and there's the other guy, forgive me, it starts with an M, in Britain, who has been arrested. Lord Peter Mandelson served as the British ambassador to the United States. So he's one of the people that has been arrested. And then there's also, I'm going to absolutely butcher this man's name, Thorbjorn Jagland. He was a former prime minister, and he has been charged with gross corruption following the investigations of the Epstein relationship.
So it's interesting, though, that those three specific men, it hasn't been sex-related crimes. It's really been more of the evidence, or I'm sorry, the information or financial information that they gave to Epstein. Then you can say in exchange for what or what, but the fact then they handed over information to this man.
Right.
And that's what they're in trouble for.
Yes. I mean, he's the biggest con artist. He had such charisma. I mean, he was a Dalton Upper East Side teacher, and they were there are in the Times, they're doing, tons of investigations in the New York Times. And one article was about how that back in the 70s, when he was a middle school teacher, there were rumblings about his inappropriate behavior with the kids. And so how these people just keep getting pushed forward or believed or protected, I find chilling. And there was an article in the New York Times, I think, that really struck me, Jolene, and I sent it to you, about there's a photograph of this Upper East Side doctor, and there's a girl laying on the dining room table, and she had cut open her head. And instead of taking her to a hospital, they called one of their Upper East Side doctors to come and stitch her up. And it was a serious gash. And I'm just thinking,
35 stitches.
What the fuck is going on here? And how are all these people just saying, well, you gave me, $100,000 or $500,000 so I could research X, Y, and Z. And so I'll turn a blind eye and I will stitch up this young girl. Why is she here? No.
So can we start? I really want to start because I didn't know all this until we started digging into this.
Yeah.
So he starts as a middle school teacher in the 70s, never graduated from college, teaching science and math. And presumably one of his students' father was an executive with Bear Stearns. And so he went to go work for Epstein, went to go work for him then as a trader. And by 1981, he was an associate partner, and then started his own firm after that. I mean, and not knowing, what all the particulars are in between all that, but then started his own firm being a money manager for the ultra wealthy. You had to have $1 billion, or so he said, $1 billion or more to get started with him, for him to manage your money. So one of his very first clients was Les Wexner.
Yes.
And this is so, and I didn't realize, I think I'd heard the name Les Wexner before, but didn't know Leslie Wexner, didn't know who he was or what. But, and I just sent this to my girls this week when I read this, that, so he's the one that started Victoria's Secrets and started the Limited and Abercrombie and Fitch and the Limited 2, which then became Justice. And as a mother of 3 young girls at the time that they were in their adolescence, and I'm talking, we're talking when they're 6 to 10 years old, the obsession with skimpy clothes for girls at that age, I was absolutely amazed by. Okay, so just to give you a little context here, we did not have a lot of money. Jeff was football coach and didn't have a lot of money, so we really relied on hand-me-downs from my sister-in-law, who loved shopping at the Gap. And she had, her 2 girls were just a little bit older than Callie, so we got all the hand-me-downs. And she was a great shopper, and so we would get hand-me-downs from the Gap from her girls, and I'm like, this is good stuff. Anyway, so we always, we're always wearing their clothes. And my nieces, Heidi and Megan, we would get their hand-me-downs too, which was great. So we didn't do a lot of shopping, but when we did, I would always go before school, in August before girls would start school. And I was amazed that when we would go into what was the Limited 2, was kind of that adolescent girls store, and which then turned into Justice, like the skimpy little itty bitty shorts and crop tops and like bathing suit tops for shirts. And that my girls were like, this is what I want. And I'm like, what? Are you kidding me? Yeah. And bathing suits. I remember going, do they not make one-piece bathing suits anymore for 9-year-old girls? So now that I put all this together with this whole Les Wexner and this obsession with adolescent girls of Epstein, the light bulb went off for me this week, because I'm going, that's sick. I remember walking into Abercrombie and Fitch and having these girls who looked, they had no makeup on and they looked so young, and they were modeling these clothes, the big pictures that were on the sides of the walls. And again, with boys, touching them and stuff. And I'm like, God, what are we doing here?
I remember the Abercrombie and
Fitch. Makes sense.
Yeah, I remember the Abercrombie and Fitch campaign, where it was very sort of following in a way the like Calvin Klein underwear ads, where it was, but they went younger than the Calvin Klein models, and they were like always like sweaty, like boys, very young boys that were very chiseled with sand and wet, and girls too with like, and they were young. And I remember going into New York to when the Abercrombie and Fitch stores, where they would hire these young models, New York models, and they would walk around, the boys would walk around in jeans and no shirt, and the girls had, and you're just like, what is this? I watched part of the Les Wexner hearings and just sort of was astounded by it. And I sent you that clip. He's 88 now and very long-winded and wants to explain things. And at one point, and he goes very much off topic all the time. And at one point, it's a clip that's gone viral. You can look it up. You could just probably look up Les Wexner and his attorney getting mad. And he leans over into his ear and says audibly, "I will fucking kill you if you answer any question longer than 2 minutes." And it was like,
his attorney says that to him.
To him. And it was also just astounding, just the culture of the elite, where they would ask very pointed questions about enormous sums of money to the rest of us. But when you're super rich, you're not paying attention, and you blindly hire people to take care of your stuff. It's a strange recollection. I'm not going to share names, but I was a personal assistant to 2 very wealthy women during when I needed rent jobs before I could be a full-time actor. And it's a very interesting relationship for what it's worth, where there is this sort of, I mean, you go through an interview process and you usually sign a non-disclosure
NDA.
agreement. But, I was in charge of very personal things for these two women. I had access. There is a trust there that is easily manipulated, clearly. I'm listening to the Leslie Wexner hearing and thinking, you lost $200 million and you have no way, you don't know where it went and you didn't really think about it, or you don't remember when you bought that multi-million-dollar plane, which to us would be like, oh, it was 1987, March 2nd. But when people are really wealthy, it's a real thing that I've experienced in my very tiny sliver of access to that world, that they're busy doing whatever they're doing and they are trusting you to help them.
So then he got access because of this, he got access to a lot of money, of Wexner's money. And then that started him down this path of rubbing elbows with the elite. And, you start to build up your resume of people that you are in contact with. And one of the articles that I read, said, when you're talking about that level of money, the circle's pretty small. And so if you get invited to a dinner there, and there are 12 other people there, I mean, that circle is relatively small. And so if they know that you're working with this person, they're more apt to then introduce you to one of their friends. And that is just how this kind of really snowballed into Epstein having access to some of the most powerful, rich people in the world. So then it was 2005 when finally Alex Acosta, what was he? He wasn't a federal prosecutor. He was, he was the U.S. attorney in Miami.
Yes.
Well, in 2005, the parents of a 14-year-old girl made the accusations that she was molested in his Palm Beach home.
Okay.
And he got a plea deal. He said that he would struck a deal that he pled guilty to state charges, not federal charges. And that also eliminated any other of the co-conspirators having to come forward. So he was guilty of solicitation of an underage girl, and he spent 18 months in jail. But he got 12 hours a day out on, he got to leave from 8 to 8 every day to go work and do whatever he wanted, and then spend his nights in his hotel jail. I mean, really is what it ended up being. So then it was, and 10 years later, then it was 2018 then, when federal prosecutors finally, the Miami Herald started doing some investigative journalism, some articles, and that's when really, I mean, that was kind of the beginning of the end, that they started really looking into what he was doing. He was arrested in 2019, and then a month later, he died.
Yes.
In jail.
And in terms of Alex Acosta, there was a huge controversy because Trump appointed him as the Department of Labor secretary, and he
in his first term,
and then in 2019 he resigned when all of this came back up, because according to him, he gave the best plea deal he could at the time, which doesn't seem like that really adds up, considering. And the other thing, I have two things to think about. Like, so he had this New Mexico compound, which did you read about that?
Mm-hmm.
Which is so chilling to me. Some of them, mostly men, but men and women, scientists, doctors. He was really a fan of eugenics, and he was a fan of transhumanization. And he wanted to create a new sort of human and had plans to make babies with these women. And I was a little unclear, Jolene. Did he want to be the sperm donor, or was he using the highest minds
I thought it was that he wanted, like he
Okay.
thought
Yeah.
that was his sperm.
Which, after
Yeah.
we did the billionaires and surrogacy thing, I was like, oh, this is not a new thing, but the New
Right?
Mexican compound has sort of been ignored, and now they're trying to reopen what has been going on here. And I think this was my number one hot take. This is what doesn't make sense, Jolene. There were so many women that were trafficked and used, and so many people implicated in the Epstein files, but no one had sex with these young girls, not one. If these children, because they're children, and there was just a BBC News article that I sent to you yesterday that, now that Pam Bondi is being subpoenaed, all of a sudden they found this report that they thought was a duplicate, and it's says that Trump and Epstein knowingly had sex with a girl that was between 13 and 15 years old. So it feels to me much more of that the system is rigged for the elite class, and that there's sort of this old boys and old girls club that is like, we don't get touched. Like that woman, I'm forgetting her name, the woman that got charged, who's worked at Goldman Sachs. Her name is, I'm going to mispronounce her name. Her name is Catherine Rumier. I don't know where I saw this interview, but I was so startled when I heard it, where she was like very frank about, at that time, if you didn't know Epstein, you were a loser.
Yeah.
I guess I'm really naive, Jolene. I didn't really understand until investigating the ins and outs of this story. I guess I have higher hopes for people. I didn't realize how many people are really power hungry, money hungry, wanting to be accepted in this group and will do anything they can, and that there aren't a lot of people. I mean, maybe it's super naive, but it's like, aren't there more whistleblowers out there?
But if you look at the one article that you sent me, and I think it was from the New York Times, where the doctor from Mount Sinai, and how she was a girlfriend of Epstein's at one point, and then she married. I think when she was in med school, she and Epstein were together. And then she became a doctor and married some other guy. But how much money Epstein gave to breast cancer unit at Mount Sinai. And so, I mean, you look at that and like, absolutely not justifying this, but you're looking and she's like, well, I don't know everything that he does, but I just know that he really helped my cause. I'm helping women who might die from breast cancer. I'm helping them. And so in your mind, do you start justifying, I don't know where this money's coming from, but this money, I know this money is going to help women, or it's going to help people, or, whatever it is.
I mean, that's how he was able to get into those communities, into the doctors' communities, these scientist communities, because he'd give money and he seemed, oh my gosh, thank you. I'll do whatever you need. That was his game, right?
So then you look at people like Bill Gates, though. That's the one that just baffles me, because you just think that he's this nerdy little but incredibly wealthy and smart person, and he and his wife do so much philanthropy work, and how many philanthropic endeavors have they both started, and all that. And then he gets with Epstein so he can get with two Russian prostitutes and gets a disease from them. And hey, by the way, I've got gonorrhea. Wow. I mean, you're Bill Gates. Like, couldn't you? You're freaking Bill.
But that's the thing, Jolene. I think a lot of these people, they're like human beings. They, like you said, they're nerds. They made a lot of money. They got a lot of power, and they have a lot of access. And so if these guys didn't have all this money, they'd just be a guy. And I'm saying these guys and these girls, Like there's this.
Yeah, there are a few women, involved with this as well. I have such a hard time with, was it sex that brought him down? You know, I mean, like, is
What, Bill
sex,
Gates?
have we sexualized?
Or
Yeah.
Epstein?
Like, no, Bill Gates. Did Bill Gates have everything else except he couldn't get his freak on? And so with his wife,
Well,
and so
I mean, we don't
he's like,
know.
I know where I can do it. I know, but my
Right.
point being, it's so concerning and disturbing to me of the freakish things. And I mean, even the people, some of the emails or texts that, have been released of people that we like follow, Dr. Attia on
Attia. Dr. Peter Attia. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And think that he
Well, he pawns
he was fantastic.
And he pawns his wellness thing, and he's a scumbag.
The emails, oh my gosh, the stuff that he was saying was so disturbing. I'm like, what? Again, like, is this deep-seated sexual? I want to call it perverts, I guess. That is so important that they're willing to give up everything that they
Jolene,
have worked for.
I don't think they think of it that way. I really don't. I mean, it's part of it is our culture and our society. Like they have become these prominent figures like Peter Attia, where they have all these followers and we as a culture hold them up. They're still a human being. And the more followers they get, the more money they get, the more self-important they get. I can't be touched. What's so completely moronic, everybody, is that emails are not private. Texting is not private.
Gosh.
It's not private. But you just get into this world of like, I can't be touched, or I'm really important, or what I say, like I can get away with it. Oh, I get in trouble, I'll just hire my lawyer. Like, who's gonna not believe me? I'm Peter Attia, or I'm Bill Gates. And maybe this is something that we should talk about. But human beings have sexual desires, and human beings have very different levels of sexual desires. And there's shame involved, and there's freedom involved. And I think that's sort of a separate conversation in a way. I think, Jolene, it's more about power than it is about sex. I mean,
you could be right.
With the girls, obviously, it's exploitation. And what's so crazy to me, Joe, is just this entitlement. This these girls untouchable, and these girls don't matter. These girls we can just throw them away. They're human beings. It's startling to me. I think it's a power thing.
No, I would agree with you, but I also think that I just go back to the Les Wexner stuff. I think the obsession with sex, I think that our society has probably become more obsessed with sex than we were 100 years ago. And
I disagree.
So
I just don't think
really?
Yeah, I don't. I mean, when you read things, I think we've always been sexual beings. I think we've hypersexualized women. When, I just remember being a little girl, we, in the 70s watching Miss America. Why the fuck do we have a bathing suit contest?
Sorry, Linda.
I was always like, huh?
Oh, I'm okay with that.
Well, then that's interesting. Because to me, it's
I'm okay.
Why?
Because I think it shows that how well you've taken care of your body. That your body is your temple. But why do you need to
take your clothes off to show your...
To see. No, I think it's to see how fit you are. And to see that, okay, have you worked... It's hard to be thin. It's hard to be fit. It's hard to be strong. And if you work at it, you should be, and if that's important to you, which it is to Miss America, then I think you should be able to show it and that you have worked at it, because those who don't work at it, that's not important to them. And I'm not saying that's not okay,
right.
But if it were easy, everybody would be fit, and it's not. And so I think it just shows how hard are you going to work at being muscular and strong.
I guess my point is that I think sex has always been there. I think kink has always been there, whether we talk about it or we don't talk about it. But I think that these class of people think that they're above the law.
You're right. I would agree.
And I think that they don't look at these girls as being worthy of the same
Oh, yeah.
justice that they have. I mean, that's been since somehow it's like the beginning of time with like you said, with women. I feel like we're all over the map here, but I think when we got on the conversation, this is a conversation, I don't know how to talk about this. Right? And you don't either.
I agree. I mean, obviously we've seen this on our, from our comments than people that have given us on our show that, Trump is deflecting with all of these other things that he's doing to deflect from the Epstein files. There are so many people who the most important, we've talked about on our show, people have their thing that it means the most to them. And there are people who think the Epstein files are the most important thing. And so the fact that it has become politicized because is Trump in there? Is Pam Bondi redacting things or keeping files because Trump is in there? And then the other side of the coin then is, okay, there's a lot of things in there about a lot of different people, but it still doesn't implicate them. I mean, if Bill Gates had sex with Russian prostitutes, did he give them money? Then that's illegal. If they weren't prostitutes, then did he do anything wrong? I mean, it's so hard to prosecute, I think, all of the evidence that is going to come forth or has come forth in these files to be able to pinpoint where the wrongdoing is. And if you can prove that these girls were underage and that these men or women were having sex with them and knew that they were underage, then that is a crime. But the only two people that have been prosecuted at this point for any crimes are Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell for prostitution, for human trafficking, for money laundering. To get anybody else, I think, has proven hard. The Biden DOJ had this information and didn't find enough to prosecute. Now Trump's DOJ has got this. We'll find out if Bondi can be grilled.
Yeah, I mean,
Bondi, and find out
the way she's handled it, and the fact that all the men were redacted and the poor girls' photographs and names. Like, give me a break. I just don't even understand it. It's like these poor women who clearly, I don't think that this is fun for them.
Right.
Like, it makes me think, well, of course they're telling the truth. Why would they do this to themselves, to their lives? And that they are just being completely ignored and dismissed and disrespected over and over and over again. It's just, I think why people are also just, and there's Republicans too that are so mad at Bondi, because it's like, this should not be political. This is a human issue. Like, for once, can we please stop fighting each other and actually investigate and protect these young women who are now like our age? They've lived with this trauma. Right. They've lived with this their whole adult and childhood, their whole life. And we still have to just fight each other. Still, yeah, I mean, I think about we'd already scheduled that we were going to do this episode, and like, oh, Bondi's being subpoenaed again. And I'm like, ugh, do I have it in me to watch her she's disrespecting the office. Yeah. Like, I'm just enough. And let's actually raise up the human and try to figure this out, because the more we delved into this, Jolene, this is so disgusting.
And it's just, it encompasses, like I said earlier, the most powerful people in the world. The fact that Epstein was able to weasel his way into these inner circles and give, and whether it was sex, power, or money to these people in order to continue to feed his habit is so disturbing.
And I also encourage those of us that listen to this podcast, read, to stop politicizing this issue. It's very clear that Biden's administration didn't take it seriously enough. We all know that. That's not an excuse for now. Like, let's just deal with it now. And honestly, who knows? I don't understand if Trump wants to be a hero, like he's getting involved in everybody's business around the world right now, which is, I don't even know what to say about all of it. He wants to take over everything. Where it gives me pause, Jolene, is he could easily be the hero of this, but why isn't he?
Well, he has. He has said, I'm the one that released the files. I released 30,000 documents. Now,
Excuse me, but
now it's come out.
Now it's come
that
out,
some
but
have not everything has been released.
and not everything that has
Why?
been released. Why? And if he's in this document, like they're saying millions of times, which makes me think, was Epstein obsessed with Trump? Like, I don't understand, unless, like, what is Trump hiding?
If you were a New Yorker, if you were a New Yorker back in the 90s, Trump was probably the number one person that you would want in trying to get into that inner circle. But how many times did he go to the Clinton White House? 27 times he visited the Clinton White House? Well, there was another one but again, if there's not enough evidence, if people have poured over all of these documents and there's not enough evidence.
But Jolene, who were the clients? If these girls are being trafficked, who were they?
Right.
Where are they?
Right.
None of the famous rich people partook, except Andrew. There's a photograph of him straddling a young girl. I mean, ugh. But who are the clients? Who are the clients?
Right. But that's what they've said. There are pictures that don't prove wrongdoing. Are they inappropriate and disgusting? And the same with the texts and the emails. That's what this whole thing has come down to. There's not enough evidence to prosecute.
But I also wonder, Jolene, do you remember that there's a sultan that wrote an email that said, I really enjoyed the torture video?
Right.
Which made me think, there's got to be other video. There's got to be. And where is it? And I am not a conspiracy theorist. I've never thought about any of this stuff. But after reading all this stuff from reputable journalistic sources, I'm like, oh my God, this is disgusting.
Yeah. I don't know where we go from here.
I don't either.
I don't. I mean, if federal prosecutors that are unbiased are looking at this and can't go anywhere with it, then
are they unbiased? Do we know that?
Lesson?
Do we know that though?
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Do we? Does this happen? In another 3 years, if we get a Democrat president in there?
I don't know. We need this to not be political.
Yep, 100%.
So we can agree on that.
Yes,
y'all.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening, and we'd love to hear your thoughts, your ideas. You can comment on our YouTube page. You can DM us on Instagram. You can write us on Facebook. You can write to me personally on LinkedIn. We'd love to hear your thoughts because we've avoided this topic, honestly, because it's just...
Yeah.
I don't even want to say just because I'm a woman. I think it's just so humanly disturbing, and it shows the ugliest part of us. And I just think it would be so important to take politics aside of this. This is not political. Like, let's give these women their due.
Yep. 100%. I agree.
Do you have a would you rather?
Well, I do. And it's along these lines.
Okay, mine isn't.
Would you rather see the footage of the jail cell the night that Epstein died, or see all the redacted info from all the files?
I'd rather see all the redacted info of all the files.
You don't want to know what happened to him?
No. I don't care.
Really?
I want to know what he did. It seems quite fishy that he killed himself.
Yeah.
And if I saw that, I'd be like, okay, what happened? What happened? I'm really tired of the elite being protected and the victims being shamed. So yeah. I want to know. I want to know it all.
Ugh. Oh God. But then you'd have to look at it all.
You'd have to look at it all. But somebody's looking at them. I mean, it seems like it would take years to look at it, considering how much stuff they have.
Yeah.
To me, it's like, it seems evidence enough. You have millions and millions of pages of this guy is a bad dude. And what he did was bad. He didn't do it alone. I guess that's my point. And he didn't just do it with one woman. There are lots of people in this situation that are culpable and they're not being held accountable.
Yeah.
Would you rather be so afraid of heights that you can't go to the second floor, or be so afraid of the sun that you can only leave the house on rainy days?
Oh, God. Come on. Where are you coming up? You are not coming up with these on your own.
I got a little help this one. I got a little help. Listen, I was like, I'm so bummed out by this topic. Like I just needed to do something weird.
I don't want to be afraid of the sun, so I guess I'm afraid of heights. Either way, I can't leave my house. I have a 2-story house.
I know. I was thinking about that.
Do I leave
maybe, but you have railings that you really just hold on to real tight. Maybe Jeff can create like a harness for you to get up the stairs.
A leash, if you will.
Oh God. Okay, now we're in the Epstein world.
And here we go.
Here we are. Wow. Okay.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you
for listening. Thank you for being a part of our community.
Yes.
Please share, like, subscribe. That helps us get our word out.
Yes.
And we appreciate you being here.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Jolene.
We've Got to Talk is produced across the world by the wildly talented, creative, and hilarious team at Bambi Media. Our theme song is Jump Jive Swing by Space Train Unlimited. Thank you so much for listening, and join us every week for another episode of We've Got to Talk.